What does death sound like? Okay. I know that's a bit cerebral of a question, so I'll give you a moment to ponder it. Okay, did you imagine it'd sound like this? Hyper Light Drifter. What a game. If you haven't heard of this game, it's a short indie pixelated roguelite. Did you catch all that? Well, this game is absolutely beautiful. The mechanics are fun and responsive, and, where I believe the game shines the most, the music is hauntingly incredible. But before I get to talking about the music, this video includes spoilers because I'm about to explain the entire plot, or at least what I believe to be the plot of the entire game. It also has some graphic topics and visuals, despite being a cutesy pixelated game, so here I go. Once upon a time, the people of this world created a perfect cell of life that is immortal, and they made it to be put into every single person. So then, the people that have the cell, would also become immortal. This scared a lot of people, which caused breakouts of violence to sweep across the world. Now, fair warning, I am gonna show, obviously, some pixelated violence, but you know how it is. The violence is seen in-game through the testimonies of survivors, and also in sections like the water section where the frog people are killing and skinning rabbit people. I mean, like, I realize only now how gruesome these sections are, because, like, literally, look at all of those bones. Those skeletons are the rabbit people. The frog people literally slaughtered all of them. Anyway, testing with the Immortal Cell went wrong and a giant explosion happened, summoning the Titans. No, not those Titans. These Titans. These Titans are terrifying, by the way. Like, literally, how are you supposed to deal with these things? I don't even know. They just kind of die. I think they die because the infection gets to them, which, actually, speaking of an infection, there's some sort of sickness that's like going around and mutating people, and it's why we get like crazy bosses like the giant frog that straight up eats people at the end of the water level. Literally, like, that guy was just a normal frog. Like, I'm pretty sure that guy was just a normal frog until he got, like, corrupted by the sickness and the Immortal Cell. So, legitimately, like, I don't even know. The sickness is crazy. And then that brings us to the start of the game. The Titans are slain, and we, having the Immortal Cell, wake up coughing infected blood. Wonderful, right? So how does death fit into any of this? Well, the question that I have is, why is death around if everyone is immortal? I mean, there is death everywhere, all over the game, but why does death follow us specifically and lead us throughout the game despite knowing the fact that we are immortal? I'm getting ahead of myself though. First, how do I know this animal is meant to represent death? Okay, now, obviously it is a jackal, and jackals kind of point to Anubis, the god of death, but despite the fact that it's a jackal, it also has a diamond halo around its head, and it seemingly just appears and disappears throughout the game. So this animal, this jackal, is definitely supposed to represent Anubis, aka death. A certain museum also follows the jackal around whenever they're on screen. Now this is it. It's always detuned and very synthy, but I mean, essentially this is what it is. I played it in the beginning of this video and it's heard all over the soundtrack throughout various songs. I believe that this museum represents death, both the character and the idea. It always plays whenever the jackal is on screen, and it also plays in the intro when the explosion happens, killing who knows how many people. This museum is not a normal representation of death. When most people think of death, they don't imagine two major chords. I actually kind of like this representation here. It doesn't make death seem scary nor imposing. I mean, most representations of death are scary. They are dangerous. They sound dangerous. They sound unknown. It scares you inherently. And honestly, death scares most people. So of course, in media, it's going to do the same thing. But in this game, death just is kind of there. Like it simply just exists in silence, the stoic face of the jackal meeting your gaze. Death is emotionless. It doesn't wish to harm you, but it is simply there to guide you when you pass. I think this museum actually beautifully expresses that, the slight, eerie, but haunting sound of the ultimate unknown. Something else I'd like to talk about actually is the ending of the game. Surprisingly, it does not play at the end when our character does die. In fact, something much more interesting happens. You've heard throughout the video the various songs of the soundtrack, but I've held off from playing this one in particular for this very moment. I think you'd agree with me that all of the songs so far have been very synthy sounding, very unnatural, very technological. Well, when we destroy and kill the immortal cell at the end of the game, removing the immortality from anybody who has it, the soundtrack does something special. Take a listen. You hear that? It's a piano. It's the first natural instrument of the entire game. It's beautiful. The reason for this switch up is because the people of this world disturbed the natural process of life. They interrupted life by removing the possibility of death. The world is in an unnatural state. Life is in an unnatural state. And the soundtrack reflects that through its undying, robotic, and synthetic sounds. Then, when the circle of life is placed back into its natural order, our first natural-sounding instrument is heard. In the intro, when all of the people are holding up different lights that come on around the jackal, I believe that represents the people creating the immortal cell and waking up death, in a sense. And at the end, when the circle falls apart, the jackal leaves to supposedly leave to the underworld after returning the world back to its natural state. In the beginning, it woke up simply because it had a job to do. Death leads us throughout the game because death wants to get rid of the immortality and place the world back into its natural state. Death knows that only we have the power to destroy the immortal cell, and so it chooses us to be the one to remove immortality. And death is simply just there, followed by two chords. Those somber, simple, and solemn chords. Those are the representation of death. Those are the representation of the quiet and standard passing of life. Perhaps that's all that death is, just a simple jackal, stoically guiding you through the darkness.